Welcome to Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex in Florida. Today we're going to take you step by step through everything you can experience during a full-day visit, from historic rockets and Space Shuttle Atlantis to the brand new attractions like the Gantry at LC-39. Whether you're a first-time visitor or coming back for the newest additions, this guide will help you plan out your entire day. When you arrive at Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex, you'll actually encounter some historic landmarks before you even step through the gates. The first is the historic countdown clock. This clock has been a part of NASA's story since the Apollo era, counting down launches from the moon landings through the Space Shuttle program. Today, it's one of the most iconic symbols of spaceflight and the perfect way to start your visit. Just beyond the clock is the giant NASA insignia, better known as the meatball logo. And of course, it's a must-do photo stop. Right behind the meatball, you'll see a brand new curved LED screen installation. This massive display has replaced the John F. Kennedy fountain, which once stood here, and it's a really cool addition to the entrance. If you stand in just the right spot, the images create a really awesome 3D effect that looks like they're popping right off the screen. Once you pass through the gates, the first thing that you'll notice is the Rocket Garden, where towering rockets from NASA's earlier programs rise into the sky. But we'll come back and explore that a little later in the day. Before you head too far in, be sure to grab a map and a daily schedule. The schedule has a QR code that you can scan to make your free reservation for the Hyperdeck VR moon mission experience. These times fill up quickly, so it's best to secure your spot as soon as you arrive. There's also another VR attraction called Blue Origin's new Shepard flight to space. Unlike Hyperdeck, you can actually make a reservation directly at the attraction inside the Gateway complex when you're ready to ride. With reservations secured, we're heading straight to Gateway, the Deep Space Launch Complex, to kick off our day and to try out the brand new VR experience inside. Before you even step inside Gateway, take a moment to notice the building itself. The sleek exterior is covered in color-changing tiles that shift depending on the light, giving the pavilion a futuristic look that feels right at home for an attraction all about the future of space exploration. Out front, you'll also find wayfinder signs. These digital displays point in the direction of planets, satellites, the ISS, and other celestial bodies in real time. It's a cool reminder that space exploration isn't just in history, it's happening right above our heads right now. Once inside, one of the newest experiences is Blue Origin's new Shepard VR simulator. You may have seen celebrities travel to space aboard the new Shepard space vehicle, but here in Gateway, you can experience it for yourself in a fully immersive VR ride. And best of all, it's included with admission.
That was so fun!
Blue Origin also offers something special here called Postcards to Space. You can fill out a postcard on a site, and Blue Origin will actually fly it aboard a new Shepard launch. Once it returns, the postcard is stamped as having gone to space and mailed to you, which is a unique keepsake that's been beyond the Earth's atmosphere. This is another free experience included with admission. After checking out New Shepard, the lower floor of the Gateway is packed with spacecraft and exhibits both around you and even suspended overhead. These are real flown vehicles, not replicas, and some of the highlights include a flown SpaceX Falcon 9 booster that towers overhead. There's also the Cargo Dragon COTS 2 capsule, part of the first Dragon spacecraft to successfully dock with the International Space Station. Boeing CST-100 Starliner crew module, and even a Starliner simulator where you can get a sense of what it's like to sit in the cockpit. The Orion EFT-1 capsule, which paved the way for NASA's Artemis missions, and a prototype spacesuit designed by Adam Savage, best known from Mythbusters, showcasing creative approaches to next-generation space gear. There's also an Aerojet Rocketdyne engine interactive exhibit where you can explore the mechanics of rocket engines that power today's spacecraft.
Yeah, successful! I did it! Yeah! Boom!
The Jared Isaacman spacesuit worn during the groundbreaking Inspiration 4 mission, which marked the first all-civilian crewed orbital flight. And overhead, Sierra Nevada's Dream Chaser space plane model, a sleek shuttle-like craft being developed to deliver cargo to the ISS. All of this is laid out in a sleek, glowing terminal environment that feels like a spaceport of tomorrow. The highlight upstairs is Spaceport KSC. Along the way, you'll pass an interactive wall that lets you learn more about the destinations that you might travel to and the futuristic technology imagined for these space flights. The attraction is set up like a spaceport in the future, complete with digital departure boards and a terminal atmosphere that makes you feel like you're about to board a flight. Instead of a plane to New York or Los Angeles, you'll be boarding a space plane bound for destinations light years away. Once inside, you'll be able to choose one of 4 possible journeys. Spaceport KSC is a mix of cinematic visuals and simulator motion that is similar to Soarin' and Epcot. It's not too intense, so even kids can enjoy it. Each trip is different, so feel free to get back in line to see each one. Stepping out a gateway, we headed over to one of the most iconic sites at Kennedy Space Center, the Rocket Garden. This outdoor exhibit lets you walk among the actual rockets that launched America into space during the Mercury, Gemini, and Apollo programs. The scale here is unbelievable. You'll see rockets like Juno 2, which helped put some of the earliest satellites into orbit, the Atlas rocket that carried John Glenn, the first American to orbit Earth, and the Titan, which launched astronauts during the Gemini missions. Informational plaques next to each rocket explain its role and the number of missions flown. Every rocket on display here is real except for one, the Mercury Atlas rocket. This is a full-scale replica of the vehicle that carried America's first astronauts into orbit. And while most of these rockets are authentic, none of these rockets have actually been to space. If you'd like to learn even more, there's guided tours of the Rocket Garden offered several times throughout the day. Check the daily schedule when you arrive to see when the next one is available. Next, it's time for our Hyperdeck VR Mission Moon experience, one of the newest high-tech additions to Kennedy Space Center. This free attraction requires a reservation by scanning the QR code on the daily schedule, which is why we secured our spot first thing in the morning. The Hyperdeck is a fully immersive 4D virtual reality simulator where built-in effects like wind and even temperature changes make it feel like you're really on a lunar surface. Unlike some VR attractions that feel like passive rides, this one is interactive. You'll use hand controllers to collect materials for the mission by blasting different colored rocks. And it does keep score. You can see how you stacked against other players on the daily and all-time leaderboards. And why am I not surprised that Noah got the daily high score?
Yeah.
One of the highlights of any visit to Kennedy Space Center is the newly revamped bus tour. And the best part is that it's completely free, included with your admission. No reservations are needed. Just head to the boarding area, hop in line, and buses run continuously throughout the day. The tour takes you beyond the visitor complex and out into NASA's working grounds, giving you a closer look at the scale of the Space Center. Along the way, you'll pass iconic sites like the Vehicle Assembly Building, one of the largest buildings in the world. The Vehicle Assembly Building is absolutely massive. To give you an idea of just how big it is, the blue section of the American flag painted on the side is the size of an NBA basketball court. And one of those tour buses could easily fit inside the width of one of these stripes. And you may even spot wildlife like alligators and bald eagles. If you're lucky, you might also catch a glimpse of NASA's crawler transporters. These gigantic machines weigh about 6.6 million pounds, and have been carrying rockets from the vehicle assembly building to the launch pads since the Apollo program. They move at just a mile per hour when fully loaded. And as a fun little nod to these machines, the parking booths you drive through when entering Kennedy Space Center are shaped like crawlers. The first stop on the bus tour is one of the newest additions to Kennedy Space Center, the Gantry at Launch Complex 39 that just opened in 2025. This 4-level attraction is designed to blend history, interactivity, and some of the best launch views that you can get anywhere on the Space Coast. As soon as you step off the bus, you're greeted by the towering structure of the Gantry itself. It feels like stepping into a launch tower. Each level of the building offers something unique. One of the standout experiences here is the Rocket Test Fire Simulator, where you can experience a rocket test happen right in front of you. The visuals, sound, and vibrations combine to give you a real sense of what test firing is like. The top part of the rocket engine is actually made of real components from the Apollo-era J-2 rocket engine, and the bottom is a custom-built steam sprayer. From each floor, you'll have access to launch viewing platforms with sweeping views of NASA's historic pads. Informational signs point out exactly which pads you're looking at and which rockets launch from here. From Apollo missions to space shuttle flights to modern-day Artemis program and SpaceX launches. It's a unique chance to see where history happened and where history is still being made.
Oh, that's cool. What? Oh, wow. So does this like... Oh, so cool. That's awesome. That is so cool.
On the top floor, you'll find some of the most engaging interactive exhibits. Here, you can step into the role of a rocket engineer and use simulators to design rockets for different types of missions. You'll have to balance things like power, payload, and safety, giving you a little taste of the challenges real engineers face when planning a launch.
There it goes.
As you take a seat, you'll want to pay close attention to the seats themselves. These seats are built from pistons salvaged from one of NASA's crawler transporters. These were used to help carry Saturn V rockets and space shuttles to the launching pads. Another big hit, especially for families, is a chance to launch toy rockets through the middle of the building. Guests can blast small air-powered rockets that shoot straight up through the center atrium of the Gantry. We couldn't resist trying this ourselves, and launching a few rockets quickly became one of our favorite hands-on activities here.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
For younger visitors, there's also a kids' play zone with climbing structures designed after sea turtles and bald eagles' nest. And tied into that is the Earth Information Center, an immersive hub where NASA showcases how satellites monitor our planet's weather, climate, and natural disasters from orbit. It's a reminder that space exploration isn't just looking outward, it also helps us protect the world we live on. After exploring the Gantry, the bus continues deeper into Kennedy Space Center and arrives at one of the most unforgettable stops of the day, the Apollo Saturn V Center. If the Gantry connects you to NASA's present and future, this building is all about the greatest achievements in human history, the Apollo program and humanity's first steps on the moon. Your visit begins with the Firing Room Theater, a recreation of the control room used during the Apollo 8 mission, the first crewed flight to orbit to the moon. The room is set up with authentic consoles, lights, and screens, and as the countdown begins, you'll relive the tension of launch day. The voices of mission controllers build the excitement, and then the room comes alive with the sights and sounds of the Saturn V rocket blasting off. It's an immersive way to set the stage for what comes next. When the theater doors open, you'll step into the main hall and be confronted with one of the most jaw-dropping sights at Kennedy Space Center, the Saturn V rocket. At 363 feet long, it's the largest rocket ever flown, and here it's displayed horizontally suspended above you. Walking beneath it, you can truly appreciate its scale. The 5 F1 engines at its base are each large enough to fit a car inside. Alongside the rocket are a series of exhibits that bring the Apollo era to life. The Lunar Theater, which lets you relive the dramatic Apollo 11 landing, complete with Neil Armstrong's steady voice guiding the descent as fuel runs dangerously low. The Apollo Treasures Gallery showcases rare artifacts like astronaut suits, flight tools, and even the command module from Apollo 14. A piece of history you can actually touch is the Moon Rock display, where visitors can place their hand on a real sample brought back by the Apollo astronauts. You'll also see lunar modules, command modules, and the equipment that made the moon missions possible. The exhibits highlight not only the technology, but also the teamwork and sacrifice of hundreds of thousands of people that worked to make Apollo a success. Altogether, this center is a powerful and moving tribute to the Apollo program. It celebrates not only the astronauts who walked on the moon, but also the countless engineers, scientists, and everyday workers who made it possible. Standing under the Saturn V, you'll realize the sheer scale of what humanity accomplished in less than a decade. Going from the first US spaceflight in 1961 to landing on the moon in 1969. While you're here, there's also the Moon Rock Café, where you can grab lunch before heading back on the bus. It's one of the more unique dining spots in the complex, and you're literally eating under the shadow of the Saturn V rocket. After leaving the Apollo Saturn V Center, the bus brings you back to the main visitor complex. From here, it's time to visit another one of Kennedy Space Center's crown jewels, the Space Shuttle Atlantis. The building is impossible to miss. Out front stands a massive orange external fuel tank and 2 white solid rocket boosters, just like the system that carried the shuttle into space. Walking up to it, you'll immediately feel the scale of the shuttle program before you even step inside. Your visit begins with a powerful pre-show experience, which no filming is allowed, and comes to one of the most dramatic reveals you'll ever experience at the museum. The doors open and there she is, Atlantis herself, suspended in midair. Payload bay doors open wide, Canadarm extended as if still in orbit. It's breathtaking. This orbiter flew 33 missions between 1985 to 2011. Traveling over 125 million miles and spending nearly 307 days in space. Atlantis played a vital role in building the International Space Station, launching satellites, and even carried out the final servicing mission of the Hubble telescope. Seeing it up close, with its scorched thermal tiles from a re-entry still visible, it's a sobering reminder that this is the real spacecraft, not a replica. Surrounding Atlantis are over 60 interactive exhibits and displays that dive deeper into the Space Shuttle program. Kids can crawl through a mock-up of the ISS, practice landing the orbiter in a simulator, and even try hands-on activities that show how astronauts lived and worked in space. Downstairs, you'll find the Shuttle launch experience, another simulator that recreates what it's like to blast off. You'll strap in, feel the engines roar, and experience the rumble as you climb into orbit. Astronauts who have flown into space have said that this is the closest that you can get to the real thing without actually leaving Earth. Nearby is Forever Remembered, a solemn and moving memorial dedicated to the crews of Challenger and Columbia. The Atlantis complex isn't just a museum, it's an emotional journey through one of NASA's most important programs. The shuttle was often called the workhorse of America's space program. It bridged the gap between Apollo and Artemis, paving the way for the International Space Station and opened the door to international cooperation in space. For many visitors, this is the most moving and memorable part of the entire Kennedy Space Center experience. If you still have time left in your day, Kennedy Space Center has plenty of other experiences worth checking out. First is Heroes and Legends. Located right next to the Rocket Garden, this attraction takes you back to the very beginning of America's space program. The immersive pre-show sets the stage for the Mercury and Gemini missions, and the main gallery highlights the bravery of astronauts who took those first steps into orbit. Inside, you'll see artifacts like the Redstone rocket, which launched America's very first astronauts, and the Sigma 7 capsule flown by astronaut Wally Schirra, and the Gemini 9 capsule that carried Thomas Stafford and Gene Sherman into orbit in 1966. The experience concludes with the U.S. Astronaut Hall of Fame, honoring every astronaut who has been inducted, from household names like John Glenn to Alan Shepard, and lesser-known pioneers who made spaceflight possible. It's a moving, inspiring stop if you have the time. Next is Journey to Mars. This live presentation looks ahead to NASA's big goal, sending humans to the Red Planet. Through multimedia and storytelling, you'll see the challenges of long-duration space travel and the technology being developed to make a Mars mission possible. The exhibit also highlights the Mars rovers that are already paving the way, from Spirit and Opportunity to Curiosity and Perseverance. These robotic explorers have been scouting terrain, analyzing soil, and even testing oxygen production from the Martian atmosphere. Their discoveries are shaping the blueprint of how humans might one day live and work on Mars. Shows run about every hour, so it's easy to fit one into your schedule. If you're visiting with kids, Planet Play is a can't-miss stop. This is a multi-level indoor play area located in the IMAX Theater building, filled with space-themed climbing structures, slides, and interactive games. It's designed for kids, but it's also a great chance for adults to take a break in the air conditioning. Kennedy Space Center also has a massive IMAX theater that rotates between different films about space exploration. Depending on the schedule, you might see breathtaking footage from the Hubble Space Telescope or dramatic recreations of Apollo and Shuttle missions. One of the most unique features at Kennedy Space Center is the opportunity to meet someone who has actually been to space. There are 3 ways to do it. First is the Astronaut Encounter, which is a live presentation included with a mission, where a NASA astronaut shares stories of their missions and answers audience questions. There's also Chat with an Astronaut. This is a separately ticketed small group Q&A session that includes drinks and snacks. It's more personal and gives you a chance to ask the astronaut about their experience in detail. Or Fly with an Astronaut. This is the most premium option, where you can actually spend a part of your visit touring Kennedy Space Center alongside an astronaut. This includes riding the shuttle launch experience with them and hearing firsthand what the launch feels like. And before you leave, don't miss the Space Shop. This is the world's largest space-themed store. Here, you can pick up everything from NASA t-shirts and astronaut ice cream to authentic mission patches and high-quality collectibles. It's the perfect way to bring home a piece of your visit. And astronauts will do autograph signings here, so be sure to check the daily schedule for times. And if you want the ultimate Kennedy Space Center experience, you'll want to time your visit with a rocket launch. Kennedy Space Center and nearby Cape Canaveral Space Force Station are some of the best launch sites in the world, with rockets launching off several times during the month, often from companies like SpaceX, United Launch Alliance, and NASA's own Artemis program. With a launch scheduled, the visitor complex offers special viewing packages that gives you access to prime spots like the Apollo Saturn V Center, or even the Gantry at LC-39. These areas provide the closest public views of launch pads, along with live commentary from space experts to guide you through the countdown. Even if you don't book a special package, you can often watch launches from public viewing areas at the visitor complex, where the view is still fantastic. Just keep in mind that launches can be delayed or rescheduled due to the weather or technical issues, so it's best to plan some flexibility into your trip if seeing a launch is a priority. Nothing compares to the rumble in your chest as the engines ignite and the fiery plume of the rockets cutting across the sky. And the realization that you're watching history happen just right in front of you. For many like myself, it's one of the most unforgettable experiences the Space Coast has to offer. That wraps our day at Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex. From walking among rockets that made history to seeing the Shuttle Atlantis up close and exploring the brand new Gantry at LC-39. This is one of Florida's most inspiring attractions. Whether you're a space enthusiast or just looking for that one-of-a-kind experience, this truly is a must-do bucket list attraction that everyone needs to experience at least once, in my opinion. If you're planning your trip, we hope this walkthrough helps you make the most out of your day. And if you found any of this information helpful, I would love it if you would hit that like button and subscribe if you would love to discover more incredible things to do in Florida and beyond. I create a new video every week, and the best way to be able to see them is by subscribing. Also, I want to give a huge shout out to our channel members. You help keep this channel going, and we couldn't be more thankful. If you would like to help support what we do here and get exclusive emotes, early access to our videos, and more, click the link in the video description for more details. If you have even more time to spend on the Space Coast, then definitely check out the Canaveral National Seashore. You can learn more about it in the video that just popped up on the screen. Until next time.